Tourists who come here, why do they come to Goa? I think there's something very liberating about Goa.
Here, nobody cares who you are. You can be a great writer, you can be a journalist.
They don't care.
They relate to you as how you are to them. Outsiders, people not from Goa, getting drunk, misbehaving, and they get beaten up because the tolerance level for them has really gone down.
Talking about Asagam, this is what they did there.
They've driven all the locals away. There are no locals there.
Hi Seema.
Hi Charu.
I'm sure most of our viewers know you by now, but for those of you who do not know Seema, she's a very acclaimed print and television journalist. She's also got a digital newspaper called Citizen, which she's founded herself. And you, I think, are also the elected president of Editors Guild of India, right?
I was the first elected president earlier. Before that was nominations, but now now there've been others after that.
There have been others after that.
We have a 2-year term.
So I remember thinking about how you're talking about the fact that you're planning to do this podcast. What is this podcast all about, and how did you think of starting this?
I think you will agree with me because you've come and also chosen to live in Goa, not just have a holiday home here. So I have been thinking over these last few years, every time you meet Goans, they have certain conceptions about the outsiders. And then you have the outsiders, particularly from the north and also Karnataka and Andhra, coming in and making life a merry hell for the local people without understanding that there are people living here with a very strong culture, with language, with food, with aspirations, and they come and trample upon them. At least that's how it seems. And it's always seemed as if the Goans feel that they're intimidated, they're under siege, they have been, literally pushed to the margins by this influx of tourists and settlers. I don't like to use the word because of obvious connotations, but settlers who come here. So that's why when we all were talking about how we should do, what can we do, then this seemed like a good way of getting the voices out from within Goa and letting everybody know what the Goans feel and whether that all tourists are not, or all people from North India or other parts of India are not here to exploit Goa. They're good guys also, So that was the idea.
So who all have you thought of, like, what are the kind of voices you're getting into this episode?
So we've got a season of, so then I started talking. So there is Mohina Singh, who I caught up with here, who has got experience of years making serials, directing, Bangalore, Bombay, all the big production houses. So we started talking that what can we do? And then there is Charu Gargi. For people, I should also introduce her. She is from the Mass Communications Institute of Jamia Millia Islamia in New Delhi. She's a documentary filmmaker. She's very active on women's rights, on equality issues. And she has now in her avatar, in her Goa avatar, she's become a sculptor and she plays with clay. So we all thought that we should do something, right? Series. With you, I discussed a series on women. Then I thought of Goa, then discussed it with Mohina, and that's where we are. So the people we are calling are all known voices. We have activists, we have educationists, we have musicians, writers, women activists, actors, people who are part of the Goa ethos. And we also have people who are not like you and me, who live here but love Goa and trying to understand Goa. People like that who've come and actually given back to the community, maybe more than many Goans might have. So we also have those voices. So that was the idea.
So in a way, it's not the kind of voices that a regular tourist who comes to Goa will ever encounter. These are not the kind of spaces they go and see. Like Museum of Goa, for example, if you've got Subodh, that's a really interesting place where people do go and see, but they do not know what lies behind.
Yes.
They do not kind of...
And it's a very Goan space. I mean, the non-Goans go there and they feel it's good, but actually it's all Goan.
Yeah.
The food is Goan, the art is Goan, the music is Goan, everything is Goan. And yet it is very warm and embracing and gets everybody in. And that's what Goa is, no? Charu, you must have found that also, that the Goans are very embracing once you lower the walls.
No, I think Goans on the whole are very nice. Like I
Yeah.
remember I was trying to find the studio and I got down from the car and I asked this guy standing right there, "Ki, would you know where the studio is?" He says, I have just come to the doctor. Why don't you ask this guy? He'll know. And sure enough, he knew. He told me you're on the wrong side of the building. It's on the other side of the wall. GPS has got you wrong. So they're very friendly. They're like,
Yes.
they'll try and help you as much as they can. I think what they feel very intimidated by is the fact that there's this sudden flood of wealth and everything coming in, and builders with lots of money, flushed with money, buying up land, making these huge mega projects. And that's very disconcerting, I think, not just for the Goans, but as you said, in quote, settlers like us who came here many years earlier and feel like Goa is changing so rapidly.
Yes.
And there is big money. I mean, I don't know where that big money is coming from.
It seems to become a parking place for black money, people buying holiday homes, not one, two, three,
Yeah,
four. I mean, there's some apartment, some big, huge luxury project. If it's got 70 apartments with 70 swimming pools, you can imagine they cut down a hillside, they're on the coastal areas, they're mowing down the environment of Goa. Nobody is saying don't construct, but don't do it against the law and against the environment and the culture of Goa.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah.
And what's sad is I think also the fact that I feel, it's also a lot of money and it's easy money. So there are good people and bad people in whether it's Goans or it's settlers or it's, so many a times there is this greed for acquiring more. And so sometimes you're complicit in doing wrong things just because you want that money. And it's sad because, it's people like us who are coming from outside who are leading to that, who are kind of putting the spark of that corruption. I feel.
Absolutely. That is true because we are bringing the big money. I mean, now Goa is becoming as such that the Goans themselves are not being able to afford it.
Yeah, obviously.
The kind of real estate pricing is just absurd. So you find that the Goans who live in there, who never needed to work. I mean, the first person who told me this was like a cab driver. And he said that we have a way of life. You don't embrace the way of life. We take our afternoons off. We have enough to eat. We work. But you come and you work 24 hours. You change the whole system. You don't understand our culture. And then you want us to compete and accept you. How do we accept? And the other thing is, I found that, neighbors, like I went the first Christmas I was here with the neighbors, the Goan neighbors, and took some cake and all, and the doors just opened magically.
Yeah.
They come home, they'll eat, they'll play the mouth organ, they'll come and strum the guitar. It's amazing. And then one of them, this woman next door, she told me, she said, you know what we don't like? We all have either no walls or very low walls because that's community living. And
Absolutely.
anybody who's in an emergency, we can see right down the road. And then all these builders have come and they're making these high walls, which is seen as a sign of disrespect and seen as a sign of encroachment.
It is a sign of disrespect in certain ways. I live in a gated community. We are a gated community of 12 villas, right? So next to us is this very tiny shop and a house behind that, where Nancy and her mother stay. And, it was really nice. Her son was getting married. She made the effort of entering through our gates into the walls, came to each person's house and said, you are my neighbor, come for the wedding. And all of us made the effort to go to the church. And I thought that was the first breaking of the wall.
Yes.
So, but we have come from outside. We should be making that effort.
Yes.
So like you went to the thing, that was a great thing. Because somewhere along the way, it's also a little bit of a hesitation. Like I think the first time I felt I broke that barrier was, we used to have the pre-COVID time, the buses were very frequent and I would not take my car. There are those tiny buses that go through the villages, and I used to love the idea of sitting in the bus, going to Mapsa, shopping, coming back in the bus. So one day when I was coming back, one very old woman, almost like 83, 84, got in with a stick from the side. We helped her. She came in and sat down. And she said, the nice thing about this place, first she started talking to me in Konkani. I didn't understand. So she saw my face and said, "You don't know Konkani?" I said, "No, I don't." So she says, "You understand English?" I said, "Yes." She says, "My husband puts me in this bus every day and the driver takes me till Panjim. So I take a round
Oh,
and
nice.
he again drops me back here. And it's really nice that I get to talk to people like you on the way because
Yeah.
I don't have kids living here. They've gone abroad. So this is my little.
Little social outing in a way.
So I said, I'm feeling so sad that I'm going to get down on the next to next stop.
Mhm.
I would have loved to sit and chat with you all the way.
Yeah.
So I think that's really nice that there are these kind of spaces available, even if outside spaces we are kind of occupying now, at least that driver and the conductor know, okay, I have to take this woman, make her roam around, come back. And she knew everybody in the bus. She was chatting. She was
There
trying
is
to
still a community,
Yeah,
you
there
know,
is still a
despite the fact that there's so many of us who have come here, or the ones who come, the tourists, there is a community still in the villages.
Yeah, yeah.
Though people here say that community is fractured, but for us, with Delhi as the reference point, it is still a strong community.
I think it's a
And
very
when they
strong
invite you in, you get an insight into so many things, like 90th birthday of a neighbor's mother. It was such a sweet affair. Then there's the rosary, when it comes down the ward to every house. It's another social event for all the community to get together from house to house. Then I went carol singing with them. Not that I can sing, but I at least walked around. So, and what beautiful voices.
Saujo was another very nice place.
Yeah.
You can just like kind of go along with
Yeah.
everybody and dunk into the
Yeah,
well. It's
exactly.
really nice, yeah.
Yeah. And it's very embracing.
Yeah.
Women, something, Charu, I want to get your perspective on this. When I first came here, I was absolutely stunned by the amount of women I met, independent women, not Goan necessarily, non-Goans, who made Goa their home,
Yeah, yeah.
who are doing different kinds of things, so driving around in their battered old cars, all maniacs on the roads, I feel, but amazing women.
Yeah,
And they've all had a big life behind them. And then they've come and taken other professions, like somebody who was in textiles is doing foot reflexology. Another person is, like she's become a chocolate maker, was a corporate honcho. It's like almost as they're realizing their dreams here. You become a sculptor.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me, why?
I think Goa, see, even the tourists who come here, why do they come to Goa? Why not so many other places within India? I think there's something very liberating about Goa. They come here from very conservative backgrounds and suddenly they shed not just their clothes but their inhibitions. It's like literally coming out and being who they are in their own skin. So similarly, we kind of all our lives do this thing of, we are running around, there's a rat race, making cereals, doing this, doing that, enjoying it while it's there. But after some time, there's a burnout and you feel, I have always wanted to do so many things. When do I get that? I have only one lifetime. And which is the place that really offers you that space? I think Goa really does.
It does.
You can do so much. I mean, I know it might sound crazy. To me also, it sounds crazy sometimes. Like they'll do this moon dance circle where women get together and kind of celebrate a whole thing of 28-day cycle and perimenopause and menopause. I would think it's crazy, but at the same time, it's giving you that space.
Absolutely.
It's a great thing.
Absolutely. In Delhi, like both of us come from Delhi, right? And I spent my early years, many years, a decade almost, going in DTC buses as a reporter with no money, going from here to there, getting groped, getting hassled, getting pulled,
Beating up people.
taking buses when one of the chief ministers allowed, I think it must have been Sheila Dikshit in the first thing, that you can take it to police stations, so directing every second bus to the police station because of eve teasing and bad eve teasing, all that. And then you develop these armor around you, because you go and meet politicians, somebody or the other is leering, somebody's hanging onto your hand, all the filth that happens in Delhi without, I'm not even talking of total harassment. This is, and you cease to be who you are and you slowly lose touch with your inner being, And that's, I think, when I came to Goa, I realized how far I had gone from who I was in college.
Yeah.
And how I was so free and so easy, and how I had so many layers around me, and slowly you start shedding them.
Yeah.
And that's when you become somebody else. I mean, you pick up anything that you want to do. You chase your dreams.
Because there's less of judgment here. You know, it's like, it's not only I would also say like
Security and no judgment.
security, no judgment. And in big cities, there is this thing of who are you? That defines who you are, not you defining whoever you are.
Very well said. Very true. Because here nobody cares who you are. You can be a great writer, you can be a journalist.
They don't care.
They relate to you as how you are to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that makes you discover yourself because they've got to like who they meet.
Yeah.
They don't give a damn about your titles and about your achievements or anything.
In fact, the only people who do give a damn about your titles and achievements are people like us who've come from outside.
Yeah.
Because
Maybe.
I don't think, and that also becomes less with time. here.
Yeah.
Because I think
Doesn't
somewhere you
exist.
adopt Goan way of life, and at some places you don't. I was just thinking about it when you were talking that we want to come here and we want that easy lifestyle. We love the Susegard idea and everything, and yet
We want to change it.
we want to change it.
I think it's a lot of those people who have holiday homes here and are not living here and so are not influenced and bring their prejudice here. Think about
Be
it.
that.
I thought about it. I thought it's all the people who've got these huge villas and they treat them as holiday. Their primary home is somewhere else. Yours and our primary home
Is here.
is the roof over our head here, you know. So that makes a big difference in your outlook because you understand that there are people there and you don't, here nobody asks you. The first question in Delhi is what? Where do you live?
Yeah.
And then they factor that in and then either move closer to you or walk to the other end of the room. Here, if you say in what those people think are good areas, I'm not going to name them.
I was going to name it.
You can maybe, but those areas,
Huh.
the local Goan thinks
Nothing
No.
of them. Yeah.
he likes his village. He likes the place from where he is. She wants to be where, and that's when she feels good that you're from that village,
Yeah.
not from Donapala.
Yeah.
At least I name one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, even places that most of the Delhiites have moved in,
Yeah.
they have actually carried that culture. And I know the story, a horrific story of this guy who was an old man who wanted to get out of his own house because of the car parked outside. He couldn't. He went and requested that could they move the car since it's his house, and he got beaten up. So he sold that villa and moved to South. And he says, I'm so happy because not only did I get so much money,
Yeah.
because one of those Delhiites wanted to buy it, but I also got a house and a whole lot of land to kind of till and have a cool life.
But that's sad,
It's
we're
sad.
driving them away. Either like you take one of these, now that we are, speaking openly like Asagaon, they've driven all the locals away.
That's what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
Asagaon.
yeah.
This is what they did there.
Yeah, they've
And
driven all the locals away. There are no locals there. It's just, and it happened long before.
this is not very long ago,
Yeah.
not quite recent. But because he was in the hospital after that, and he decided he will not stay in a place like this. But I'm glad, that he kind of
At least found a
found
place in
a
the
space
south.
and,
Yeah.
and where he felt he belonged. But it's really sad. You're right. It's absolutely sad that, areas have just been taken over. And now I think Moira is going to go the same way.
Yeah.
It's like slowly.
Slowly areas are going, but people say, like they don't go to the beaches. Why? Because it's so taken over.
Yeah.
The local Goan who loves the beach.
I never go to the beach.
who
I love
say,
beaches.
Yeah, and who goes to the ocean, for whom the oceans were a livelihood, who have spent their lives without even knowing it, protecting the ocean and the the turtles, say, and they find that now they say we don't want to go there.
Yeah.
It's actually tragic when you see the crowds that are there in some of the
And
beaches.
if there are those
Piteous.
crowds there, people like us, settlers or tourists, somewhere I feel, I don't understand how nobody feels that it's their responsibility to keep that place clean.
Yes.
Why don't, when they finish, why don't some people, like especially youngsters, get together, or even old people like us, yeah, since we are leaving a bad environment for our kids, why don't we get together and say, let's collect everything?
Yeah.
Let's take the garbage back to the hotel and
Yeah.
tell them where is it supposed to be done.
Periodically, they do these cleaning drives, and they call everybody, and then they go around the beaches, and Goans and non-Goan youngsters, particularly, all join those drives. But it isn't happening, which brings me to the other thing is that we are being there's an artificial fight and distance being created because of the absence of good policies and the absence of being able to develop Goa like a truly coastal, beautiful town, state with the rules, regulations. I mean, even the noise. The noise regulation came after people went out on the streets and they protested like crazy. Then they started putting that after 10 or after 11 you can't sort of pollute the air.
And that also not everybody adheres to. We have a goon who's staying near us.
Hmm.
He starts his son's birthday party went on till 1 with loud music and everything. And after that, there were bombs
Fireworks.
being burst till 2:33 in the night. And nobody dare say a word against him because they're all scared of him. So how do you implement those
Yeah.
policies here? That's another
That's
very big
another
thing.
problem.
Who has clout, who has street clout, and who has clout above? So those things matter as well.
Yeah, that is true. Which is why you find that there is a resentment that is growing amongst the local youth, maybe. I mean, you do hear of not or outsiders, people not from Goa, getting drunk, going somewhere, misbehaving, and they get beaten up because the tolerance level for them has really gone down. And we don't seem to be realizing that even now. We just don't
Even women's safety. I
Yeah.
mean, look at the fact that I remember we used to come when we shifted to Goa. Even now it's safe, but we never heard of cases where a tourist got raped or this happened or that.
Yeah.
Why is
Such
it
a
happening
safe
today?
place.
It was such a safe place. That was the basic ethos of Goa. You could shed your skin and just be yourself.
Yeah.
Where is that going to go if this happens?
Yeah. And all outsiders.
Outsiders. That's
The
the
cops
most
also say,
shameful
yeah,
part.
from different states, from
Yeah.
different places, gangs
No, and
coming
it's
in.
shameful that tourists are being,
Yeah.
like foreign tourists and so on, they are being targeted. It's really sad because Goa's economy to some extent is also benefiting from the tourist trade.
Of course.
So
Yeah. It is a tourist economy.
no, it has other things as well, but it's not only tourists, but still that's one of the
That's
major,
how it is being projected.
that's how it's being projected, and that's one of the main things. And it's sad if those kind of projections are kind of going out about women's safety, foreign tourists being, it's not good.
Yeah. True. True.
So who are the other people that you're planning to, other Goan voices that you're planning to get on the show?
So we are planning to get a couple of writers who write in English though, but they're both Goans. They're
Okay.
going to be Goans. They're poets and they're writers, and they have a lot to say about the literary scene, about the use of Konkani, what is the languages, how important it is. And everywhere, I think, whenever we walk around, everybody tells us how important Konkani is to the essence of Goa.
Yeah.
And it is a language that is struggling to survive in more ways than one. So there's that. Then we had musicians who sing, and one of them was a journalist before and has became a musician and is now completely a musician. So it's very interesting. And he sings with his son. So they are there. And we will have women, an actor, a journalist. They're going to come together and talk about various issues. And we have activists, well-known activists. I'm not going to
Name
name them.
Yes.
We'll wait for the
Guess.
for the guest. Yes. And yeah, so it's a good, we think it's a very
Good mix.
good mix. And each episode we hope will be different, bringing out different aspects of Goa and also discussing the non-Goan and his relationship and her relationship to Goa as we go along. So that is where we are.
As a non-Goan, one of the things that I really want to see in this place, especially since you're saying that Konkani is dying down, and I know there are many forms of Konkani and many dialects and so on, would be to see a great language school where you can actually, people like us settlers can
Seriously.
go and sit down and learn, because I have lived in various countries, and in each country the first thing I did was join
Learn
a
the
school and
language.
learn the language.
Here I tried twice, thrice, but they're just people.
It's
They
WhatsApp
can't
group.
teach you.
It's WhatsApp group. You
yeah.
can't learn because I don't know the pronunciation.
Yeah.
We don't. The person who's working in my house is not from here. He's a non-Goan. So who do I kind of converse with? People around me are not Goan.
Yeah.
So
That's a major facility that they have to, because most of us, many of us,
would
who
like
live
to
here would
integrate.
like to learn.
Yeah,
it,
but we'd
you know?
also like to integrate
Yeah.
better, you know,
Yeah.
into the whole
into the
system,
whole system,
ecosystem.
and you
yeah.
feel that distance because you don't know Konkani. Okay, I wrote down a few questions which you can take, and I really don't have the answer, so I can also participate. That was just while jotting down, kind of a rapid fire. We can end with that. So, a Goa smell you love.
I love that smell of that sweet, you know, when they're making that, what do you call it? Bibinka.
Bibinka.
There is this lovely sweet aroma that comes. I love that. I hate sweets, but I love
you
that
love that. Oh, yum! I love bibinka. Actually, I do. Though most
I
people
only
don't
like
like it.
bibinka made by this friend's mother, Lisa. Her mom makes it very well. I love that, but not otherwise from store bought.
Oh no, beautiful! Some delicious bakers out there. Okay, a Goa habit.
Which smell do you like?
What do I like? I like the sea. I like
wet
all
mud.
the smells. I'm a sort of a total sea addict, and I take my dogs there. I walk there, and there is always a different smell.
Yeah, you're right.
So I really like it. I really, it's sort of part of all the elements that are with you. Okay, a Goa habit you have adopted. Let me tell you, my dogs have. One of them's come from Delhi. She's a German Shepherd. She loves beach walks, loves walking into the ocean. I don't know if she even thinks that there's something. Poi. Both my dogs fight over poi the whole day. It's the game. I mean, only poi, not bread, not anything, only poi. And fish. They both eat fish. I found somebody who crushes the fish for the dogs and gives it to us.
And do you also like the fish? I love fish. I think that's one Goa habit I've adopted. Also, the fact that I don't like going to these big restaurants that all the settlers and tourists like to go to. I love going to my little tiny hole in the wall places near my house, having the fish thali at night. And Urak and Feni, I love them.
I was just going to say,
I love them.
You're a Feni freak.
I'm a Feni freak. I love both.
Okay.
And the watering holes down our place, those are fantastic.
Yeah, so I realized, when we first came here, we used to go and see, okay, people told you about certain restaurants, you went there. And then slowly as time you settle in, those are the places you never
go to.
Yeah. One thing Goa teaches us beautifully.
I think to relax. I think each city has a rhythm. If you go to Delhi and Bombay, it's like madness. I go there now and I start getting jittery. You come to Goa and suddenly the calmness enters your bloodstream. It's like...
It has to.
Yeah.
Because you can't go careering around in the afternoon. Nobody's there to see you. So you run around and then you find, hello, doesn't mean anything. And then you settle down. And then you value your afternoons.
There is also this rhythm of Goa that is just so nice and kind of relaxing. I always tell my friends, if you want to kind of recuperate, just kind of take life easy, just come and stay for some days.
Yeah, absolutely. A place in Goa that still feels magical. I have a simple answer, the ocean.
Beach, that always feels magical.
Yeah. Anytime.
Anytime you go. When it rains, it's even more so.
Actually, the sea during the monsoons.
I love monsoons.
It's so stormy and passionate and so
angry. The sky and the sea seem to meet, and it's really fantastic.
That's why we're living here. We're not visitors.
Yeah.
What does home mean now?
Goa.
Okay, and what words? I don't know whether this works. I wouldn't have an answer easily, but would a 25-year-old you think of your life now?
I keep feeling, why did I have to wait so many years to come here? And I look at the kids these days and they take so many chances, like they're not bothered. They're not looking for these high-paying careers or these titles. They just come to Goa. It could also be that they're digital nomads, but I think it's more than that. I think it's the fact that they're ready to take risks, which we weren't.
Yeah.
So I keep saying to the 25-year-old me, why did I not think of these things earlier? Why was I though I loved my 25-year-old me with my media storm making documentaries.
I love my 25-year-old right in the newspapers, running around doing things.
But I didn't
think about it, but I would have liked to come to Goa earlier too.
Even I
Maybe not at 25. maybe
yeah,
later.
yeah.
But definitely should have come earlier.
Yeah. I think we did.
But you did.
we
How
did.
how many years
We've
have you
been here 9 years now, and
There you go.
we thought of coming here in 2012, but we were going to Estonia, so there was like
So you were still early.
we were still early.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now we can ask our viewers to wait for all our episodes, and you're going to see us again soon.
And thank you so much, Seema, for having me on.
Thank you, Charu, for being here. Really. Thank you.